Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Thank you for your patience, guys. Yo, what's up? Welcome to Vencabot. Pizza in a Movie, the critical acclaim triple feature. My name is David. Guys, we're watching some critically acclaimed Hollywood films from the 1930s here. This is actually 1940. This is Our Town, the third film of the night, the final film. We just got done watching a film called Star is Born. It was pretty good. It was okay. It wasn't the best I've seen on Pizza in a Movie. We watched a film after that called Love Affair, which I didn't really like at all. It was pretty dumb. It was a really dumb love story. But what are you going to do? This is the final film, Our Town, 1940. It is the least well-preserved film we've watched tonight, and probably one of the least well-preserved films we've watched here on Pizza in a Movie. Every once in a while, if you guys are long-time viewers, you guys know that once in a while, we'll have a film on here that's a little bit rough to look at and to listen to, but oftentimes they're still pretty enjoyable. They have good plots, or otherwise, they're a fun look back at history. This film is 81 years old. Please forgive her looking a little bit rough. This is apparently a VHS transfer, if I had to guess, from some kind of TV airing of the film. There is no, again, as you guys know, I work really hard all week trying to find the highest quality versions of these films. This is it. This is as good as it gets. So this is pretty much a lost film. The last remaining, version of it is this VHS recording from television, presumably. The techniques alone are worth noticing, says J-Bomb. Yeah, back in the day. This is Our Town, guys. Let's get into it. United Artists release. $1940. My mouse test here. That's fine. That's good. This one ends right here. I could probably stand a couple more on that side, but it'll be fine. From the stage play Our Town by Thornton Wilder. Hope you guys had a good evening. It's always fun watching these films, whether or not they're, all-time classics or stinkers. If you want to watch some classic films here, check out our YouTube channel. We've got things like The Red House on there. We've got things like Scarlet Street, Dementia 13. We recently put up The Strange Love of Martha Ivers, among many other films I've just been blown away by on this channel. So far tonight's not been one of those nights. But that's cool. Spider Baby, if you're on Patreon, check out Spider Baby in our Pizza and a Movie playlist. Paul O'Neill, sound technician. Yeah, this film has apparently been through a lot of transfers. So many transfers. So much processing going on here. It's like a VHS of a VHS that was then processed at least 3 times through by various digital processors. I'm seeing lots of over-sharpening, macro blocking, motion blur.
The name of our town is Grover's Corners, New Hampshire. It's just across the line from Massachusetts. Latitude is 42 degrees, 40 minutes. Longitude is 70 degrees, 37 minutes.
Sounds okay, though.
Running right through the middle of the town is Main Street. Cutting across Main Street on the left is the railroad tracks. Beyond the railroad tracks is Polish Town. You know, foreign folks who come here to work in the mills, a couple of Canuck families, and the Catholic Church.
God damn, bro.
You can see the steeple of the
Sound more
Congregational
xenophobic.
Church. The Presbyterian is just across the street. The Methodist and the Unitarian are up a block. The Baptist church is down in the hollow, by the river. Next to the post office is the town hall.
Yeah, have a good rest, Privilege. Somebody come by and say hi, dude. It's very pleasant of you.
Brian once made a speech right from those very steps.
Rest well, dude.
It's a nice town, know what I mean?
You can't wait, Brian.
Nobody very wonderful ever come out of it, so far as we know. The earliest dates on the tombstones up there in the cemetery say 1670. They're Grovers and Cartwrights and Gibbses and Herseys. Same names as you find around here now. First, we'll show you a day in our town. Not
Just as we had it coming
in the year 1940, but as it used to be in the year 1901. All right, operator, let's start. Yes, sir, that's the way our town looked back in the year 1901. Along Main Street, there's a row of stores with hitching posts and horse blocks in front of them. The first automobile is going to come along in about 5 years. The date is June 7th, 1901. It's just before dawn. Yeah, just about. The sky is already beginning to show some streaks of light in it over there in the east, back of our mountain. The morning star gets wonderful bright the moment before it has to go. The only lights on in the town are in a cottage over in Polish Town where a mother's just giving birth to twins, and down in the depot where Shorty Hawkins is just getting ready to flag the 5:45 for Boston.
Shorty Hawkins. Good night, Neon. Rest well, dude. Good night, Long Legs, Neon Riot. Thanks for hanging out, guys.
Out in the country all around, there've been lights on for some
Pleasure
time.
having you. Sleep well.
But town folks sleep late.
See you on Monday, guys.
Here
You
comes
guys are
Joe
around.
Kroll delivering the
Or on
morning
Discord.
papers. So, another day has begun. Here comes Doc Gibbs from that baby case I was telling you about.
Welcome home,
This
Doc.
is Doc Gibbs' house. His neighbor is Editor Webb. There's Mrs. Gibbs coming downstairs to get breakfast.
This is fucking Moriocho shit, dude.
Later on, about 1910, she's going out to visit her daughter Rebecca.
The audio sounds great.
Ohio. Mrs. Gibbs is going to die there. Pneumonia. But she's going to be brought back here, and she's going to be buried in the cemetery right here in our town.
Seems some
with a
interlacing.
whole mess of Gibbses and Percys. In our town, we like to know the facts about everybody. And there's Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to get her breakfast, too. Mrs. Webb was a Grover before she married Editor Webb. Yeah.
Yep.
Children, time to get up. George, Rebecca, Emily, time to get up. Wally, 7 o'clock.
Get up, Scurbs. Aw, that's a kitty, dude. Doesn't look too bad. Could be worse.
Morning, Hi.
Morning, Miss Gibbs.
Seems like you're late today.
Yeah, something went wrong with separator. Don't know what was.
Likes the milkman, dude. Why does he gotta transfer it into there? I guess it's like a measuring cup.
Baby.
He's catching the spilled milk. The good old days, dude. Let me live with you, dude. I want to live with the milkman.
Hi, Mr. Newsom.
Just come inside your house.
Mighty fine day.
Yeah.
Give me that milk. Yeah, it's like a measuring cup, I guess.
How's Miss Newsom?
Good.
Emily, Wally, George, Rebecca.
Neon, Remy, Katie, J-Bomb, Brian.
Come on, get out.
So this is his dairy
Bessie,
truck.
come on. What's the matter with you?
But it's not a truck so much as
they've
it's a
quit
horse.
taking milk. Now, come on.
Morning, Howie.
Come on. Morning, Doc.
Bessie acting up?
She's all mixed up about the route ever since the Lockhart stopped taking a quart of
You don't
milk.
like morning
today.
pie,
She wants
Brian?
to leave him a quart just the same. Keeps scolding me the whole trip. Somebody sick?
Twins over at Mrs. Goloslavsky's.
Oh, twins. This town keeps getting bigger every year. Come on. Now, come on, Bessie. Morning, Doc.
Morning, Joe.
What's your paper now?
Yeah, I'll take it.
Anybody been sick, Doc?
No, twins over in Polish Town. Joe, I see your teacher, Miss Foster's going to get married.
Yes, sir, to a fella over in Concord.
Declare. How do you boys feel about that?
Well, of course, it ain't none of my business, but I think if a person starts out to be a teacher, she ought to stay one.
How's the need, Joe?
Fine, Doc. Never think about it at all. Only like you said, it always tells me when it's going to rain.
What's the telling of the day? Gonna rain?
No, sir.
Sure?
Yes, sir.
He never makes a mistake?
No, sir.
Doc,
Joe?
I want to tell you something about that boy, Joe Kroll. Joe was awful smart, so he got a scholarship to Boston Tech. Yes, gonna be a great engineer, Joe was. But the war broke out, and he died in France.
Damn.
All that education for nothing.
Damn!
All right, Frank?
Dude, this movie's
Yes.
fucking sick so far. I like the God's Eye View thing.
I declare he's
Where I
his
found all
kid.
these characters that kind of seem like it's a God's Eye View of the town.
George, Rebecca. Satan will be ready in the morning. Sit down and drink your coffee. You can catch a couple hours sleep this morning, can't you?
Miss Whitworth's coming on 11.
It's the war through
Guess
then.
I know what's about to. Stomach ain't what it ought to be.
All told, you won't get more than 3 hours sleep. Frank Gibbs, I don't know what's going to become of you. School should go away someplace and take a rest. I think it'd do you good.
Use this when you dolt.
Children, hurry now. Emily, Wally.
Brian?
Better get
KD?
up, Mr. George.
Revenge?
Seems like something's come over him lately. He's not helped to me at all. Can't even get him to cut me some wood.
Is he sassy to you?
Just whine. All he thinks about is that old baseball. George, Rebecca, you'll be late for school. George!
George, look sharp. Yes, Pa? Don't you hear your mother calling you? Guess I'll go upstairs and catch 40 winks.
Ma, what dress shall I wear? I'll wash tonight. The blue gingham for you, special. Oh, Ma, I hate that dress.
Then throw it out then, jeez.
Every day I go to school dressed like a
Aw,
sick
Mom.
turkey. Why, Rebecca, you're always
Just 5 more
very
minutes.
nice.
The
Ma,
fuck?
George is throwing soap at me. I'll come up and slap the both of you. That's what I'll do.
Why slap her? What'd she do?
Hurry up, children.
That kid's out of control. Choke his ass out. Yeah, you're trying to fucking assassinate people, dude. You got the fucking throwing some knife from Alecki's gun.
Pa?
Children? Children, I won't have it. Breakfast just as good as any other meal, and I won't have you gobbling like wolves. It'll stunt your growth, that's a fact. Wally, put your book away. Oh, Ma, by 10 o'clock I gotta know all about Canada. You know the rules well as I
Fucking
do.
Canucks,
The
dude.
table. As for me, I'd rather have my children healthy than bright.
Well, I'm both, Mama. You know I am. I'm the brightest girl in school for my age. I have a wonderful memory.
Eat your breakfast. Well, I'll speak to your father about it when he's rested. Seems to me like 25 cents a week's enough for a boy.
Yeah, you're real smart,
I don't
kid.
know how you spend it all.
Oh, Ma, I got a lot of things to buy.
Strawberry frosties, that's what you spend it on.
Well, I don't see how Rebecca comes to have so much money. She's got more than $1.
I've been saving it up gradual.
Well, dear, I think it's a good thing to spend some now and then.
Why is she
Mom.
eating like that?
You know what I like most in the world? Do you? Money.
Eat your breakfast. That's first bag, Gumbo.
This movie is sick, dude. They established so many characters that I fucking care about already. How do they do it? What's the trick? I even want to know about their teacher. Remember their teacher getting married? Got me wondering. Give that paper, Revenge. Give that paper. He's an original gangster, J-Bomb.
Congratulations. Can you remember that? Rebecca, pick up your feet.
So how much you gonna pay me to pick up my feet? Pick up my feet ain't economical, Mom.
Fight, that's all you do. Oh, where did you come from? You don't belong to me. What you so scared of? Nobody's gonna hurt you. Morning, Julia. Morning, Myrtle. How's your cold?
Oh, still got that tickling feeling in my throat. Told Charles I didn't know as I'd go to choir rehearsal tonight.
Ever try singing over your voice?
Yes, but somehow I can't do that and stay on key.
Beans have been good this year. Let me help you.
I'd tried to put up 40 quarts, but it kills me. Children say they hit 'em, but I notice they managed to get 'em down all winter.
Myrtle, I got to tell
I didn't
you
get it,
something.
Brian.
If I don't tell somebody,
You're
I'll
pretty
burst.
smart. Pick up on that.
But Julia Gibbs, one of those second-hand furniture men from Boston, came to see me last Friday. First, I thought it was a patient waiting to see Dr. Gibbs, but he wormed his way right into my parlor. Myrtle Webb, he offered me $350 for Grandmother Hershey's Highboy as I'm sitting here.
Well, you're going to take it, aren't you?
I don't know.
You don't know? $350? Well, what's come over you?
Well, if I could get the doctor to take the money and go away someplace on the trip, I'd sell it like that. You know, it's always been the dream of my life to see Paris, France. Crazy, I suppose. For years, I've been promising myself if we ever had the chance.
How's Doctor feel about it?
Well, I did beat about the bush a little. Said if I ever got a legacy, that's the way I put it, I'd make him take me.
What'd he say?
You know how he is. Haven't heard a serious word of him since I've known him. No, he says, might make him discontented with Grover's Corners to go traipsing over Europe. No, let well enough alone, he says.
Well, if that second-hand man's real serious about buying it, you sell it, Julia. Then you'll get to see Paris. Just drop a hint from time to time. That's how I got Mr. Webb to take me to see the Atlantic Ocean, you know.
Sorry I mentioned it. But it seems to me, once in your life before you die, you ought to see a country where they don't speak in English and don't even want to.
That'll do, ladies. Thank you very much. Now we'll skip a few hours.
They hear the narrator. This is him. He's the narrator.
Now, before we get on, I think we ought to have a little more information about the town. A kind of a scientific account, you might say. So I've invited Professor Willard of our state university to come here and kind of sketch in a few details of our past history.
Like what?
There he is now.
Am I late?
Right on time. May I introduce Professor Willard of our state university? Now, just a few brief words, Professor.
Like, who the hell's over
Unfortunately,
there?
our time's limited.
Breaking the fourth wall.
Let me see. Grover's Corners. Grover's Corners lies on the old Pliocene granite of the Appalachian Range. I might say that's some of the oldest land in the world. We're very proud of that around here.
What
Some
the
highly
fuck does that
interesting
mean?
fossils have been found. I might say unique fossils. 2 miles north of town in Silas Peckham's cow pasture. These may be seen in the museum of the university at any time. Well, that is, at any reasonable time. Shall I tell them about the meteorological conditions, the mean precipitation, etc.?
I'm afraid we won't have time for that, Professor. We might have a few words about the history of man here, though.
Oh, anthropological data.
Yes.
This guy's great.
The early Amerindian stock, Cotahatchee tribes. No evidences before the 10th century of this era. Now entirely disappeared. Oh, possible traces in 3 families. Migration in the early 17th century of English brachiocephalic blue-eyed stock, and since then some Slav and Mediterranean.
And the population, Professor?
Within the town limits, 2,640. Oh, is that so? In that case, the population at the moment is 2,642.
42.
The postal districts bring in 507 more, making a total of 3,149. Mortality, birth rates, constant. By McPherson's gauge, 6.032.
Thank you very much, Professor. I'm sure we're all very much obliged to you.
Not at all, sir, not at all.
Thanks, Professor.
Good day.
Thanks, Professor.
And now the
very sweet, right? They're
social
very
and
good. It's kind of
political
fun.
report. Oh, Editor Webb? Mr. Webb? Charlie Webb's the father of Wally and Emily. Emily's the smart girl with a good memory. You know, you saw her at breakfast. All right, Editor Webb, it's your turn now.
Well, I don't have to tell you that we run here by a board of selectmen. All males vote at the age of 21. Women vote indirect. Politically, we are 86% Republican, 12% Democrats, 4% Socialists. Rest indifferent. Religiously, we're 85% Protestants, 12% Catholics. Rest indifferent. Very ordinary town, if you ask me, but our young people here seem to like it well enough. Lots of them settle down right here to live, even after they've been away to college.
Now, is there anybody in the audience who'd like to ask Editor Webb any questions about our town?
Is there much drinking in Grover's Corners?
Well, ma'am, I wouldn't know what you'd call much. Saturday nights, the farmhands meet down at Ellery Greenow's stable and holler some. We got 1 or 2 town drunks, but they're always having remorses every time an evangelist comes to town. No, I'd say that liquor wasn't a regular thing in the home here, except in the medicine chest. Right good for snake bites, you know, always was.
Mr. Webb.
Yes?
Mr. Webb, is there any culture or love of beauty in Grover's Corners?
Well, no, ma'am, not much. That isn't the sense you mean. There's some girls that play the piano over at the high school commencement, but they ain't happy about it. No, there ain't much culture. Robinson Crusoe and the Bible and Handel's Largo, we all know that, and Whistler's mother. That's about as far as we go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Webb.
I fucking love this shit.
Is there no one in town aware?
I'm sorry, guys.
No, I'm sorry, but we haven't time for any more questions. We must be getting on with the picture. It's getting on in the afternoon. All 2,642 have had their dinners. All the dishes have been washed. There's an early afternoon calm about the town. Charlie Webb's going home to mow his lawn. 1 man in 10 thinks it's a privilege to push his own lawnmower. The afternoon session of school is over.
Be right back, guys.
Doc Gibbs is in his office tapping people and making them say, ah, ah.
I have to go home and help my mother, I promise.
Emily, walk simply. Who do you think you are today?
Papa, you're terrible. 1 minute you tell me to stand up straight, and the next minute you call me names. I just don't listen to you.
Golly,
Never got a kiss from such a great lady before.
Hello, Emily.
Oh, hello.
You made a fine speech in class today.
What I miss, guys?
I was really ready to make a speech on the Monroe Doctrine.
Oh, this is the teacher?
The last minute, Miss Foster made me talk about the Louisiana Purchase instead. I worked an awful long time on both of them.
Gee, it's funny, Emily. From my window up there, I can see your head nights when you're doing your homework over in your room.
Why, can you?
You certainly do stick to it, Emily. I don't see how you can sit still that long. I guess you must like school.
Oh, she has a good memory, is the young girl.
Well, I feel it's just something you have to go through.
What do you think, Emily? We might work out a kind of telegraph from your window to mine, and you could give me a hit every once in a while on one of those algebra problems.
Well,
Oh, I don't mean the answers, Emily.
The internet.
Of course not. I mean, just some little hint.
oh, I think hints are allowed, so if you get stuck, George, just whistle to me, and I'll give you some hints.
Ooh.
Gosh. You're just naturally bright, I guess.
Well, I figure it's just the way a person's born.
Yeah. But you see,
I was just born superior.
I want to be a farmer, and my Uncle Luke says is whenever I'm ready, I can come over and work on his farm, and if I'm any good at all, I can just gradually have it.
You mean the house and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Aw.
Well, I guess I better be getting off the baseball field. Thanks for the talk, Emily. Afternoon, Mrs. Webb.
George.
So long, Emily.
So long, George.
Yo, George trying to hit it, dude. He likes them brainy chicks, bro. Likes them brainy chicks. I respect that, dude. He's trying to be a farmer. He's gonna need some help. He's not especially bright himself. He says, why not team up? Best of both worlds. Your brains, my brawn. This dude's gonna have property and is an athlete, huh? He's got enough going on. Yeah. Best film of the night already, guys. Easy mode.
Emily, what you doing?
Nothing, Mama.
What's up, Jeremy Balcom? Jeremy. Wait for the narrator to come on. George was trying to smash that ass, but sadly got caught in a track accident and died. Damn, Brian. That would definitely be fitting with the theme so far. He better keep his mouth shut, that fucking narrator.
Well, George Gibbs let himself have a real conversation, didn't he? He's grown up. How old would George be?
Oh, I don't know.
Let's see, he must be around 17.
Mama made a speech in class today. I was very good.
You must recite it to your father at supper. What was it about?
The Louisiana
Is he wrong,
Purchase.
Remy, though? Is Brian wrong?
It was like silk off a spool. I'm going to make speeches all my life.
Holding it too tight, Emily.
Is that a fucking two-person job or what?
Mama, will you answer me a question? Serious?
Seriously, dear, not serious.
Seriously, will you?
Of course I will.
Mama, am I good looking?
Of course you are. Both my children have got good features. Be ashamed if they hadn't.
Oh, Mama, that's
Fuck
not
ugly
what
people,
I
dude.
mean. What I mean is, am I pretty?
I've already told you yes. Now, that's enough of that. You got a nice, young, pretty face. Never heard such foolishness.
Oh, Mama, you never tell us the truth about anything.
I am telling you the truth.
Just ask George, dude.
Mama.
Thank you,
will you
Brian. Yeah, it's
please?
called Our Town, 1940.
Yes, I was, if I do say it. I was the prettiest girl in town next to Mamie Cartwright.
Oh, but Mama, you've got to say something about me. Am I pretty enough to get anybody? Well, to get people interested in me.
Emily, you make me tired. Now stop it. You're pretty enough for all normal purposes.
Oh, my God, dude. Emily,
This
shut
evening.
the fuck up, all right?
You can hear the choir
Quit being so
practicing in the
superficial.
Congregational church.
This is the early... So, guys, this film
Children are all
came out in
home from
1940,
schoolwork.
but it takes place in the early 1900s. So this is nostalgic even for its
Day is
time.
running down like a tired clock.
Rondo, if you have to ask, dude. Yo, George thinks he's pretty, dude. Otherwise, he wouldn't care. Because it's the year 1908 or whatever. Gosh, I sure like that Emily girl. She sure is pretty. Plus, she pretty good looking, too. Plus, she pretty beautiful. So this is the she polishing her pennies. this is the girl that's super let's say frugal. Let's say materialistic. Sorry guys. Looks familiar. Was that the guy that was just Ken in the last movie? You're right, Jimmy. Everybody has self-doubt. You're right about that. That's a fact. Probably for the best, right, Jeremy? If we didn't, we'd be fucking Donald Trump.
All right. That's better. It ain't no miracle. And I'll do it again. Now remember, ladies, music come into the world to give pleasure. I'll try it again.
Oh my god, this guy's fucking sick. Hey, no self-doubt, good vibe? Holy fuck, man.
Now listen, everybody. Get it out of your minds that music's only good when it's loud. You leave loudness to the Methodists. You couldn't beat them, even if you wanted to. Once again now, art thou weary, art thou languid? It's a question, ladies and gentlemen. Make it talk. Oh, and remember, on Sunday, take the second verse real soft. Sort of die out at the end.
This guy's so sick.
Ready?
Welcome back, Cow says. There's still pizza in a movie. This is my favorite film of the night so far. I love the directing. I love the whole premise.
Emily.
I don't know why it's so fascinating.
Hello?
It's kind of like
Oh.
The Sims or something.
I can't work at all. The moonlight's so terrible.
Emily, did you get the third problem?
Which?
The third.
The third problem, Emily. The third one.
Oh, yes, George. That's the easiest of them all.
Damn.
I don't see it. Well,
He really is,
Emily,
Jeremy.
could
He's fucking
you
biting
give
these
me a
dudes.
hint?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. The answer's in yards.
Yards? What do you mean?
Square yards.
Oh, square yards.
Well, yes, George, don't you see?
He's a dumb dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
Square yards of wallpaper.
Oh, I see. Square yards of wallpaper.
What kind of problem are
Thanks
they
a lot,
doing?
Emily.
You're welcome. My. Isn't the moonlight terrible?
Well, ain't it?
I think if you hold your breath, you can hear the train all the way to Kentucky.
To where? Wait, shut the fuck up.
Hear it?
No, shut up.
Oh, what do you know?
Well,
I don't fucking hear shit.
I guess I'd better get back now and try to work.
Good night,
I want to hear the train all the way to Kentucky.
Good night, George.
Good night, Emily.
Oh, George, can you come down a minute?
Yes, Pa.
This guy's got it bad, dude. He's got it bad.
Make yourself
I'm sitting here and can't even hear shit.
I'll only keep you a minute. George, how old are you?
Me? Oh, I'm past 17.
What do you want to do after school's over?
You know, Pa, I want to be a farmer on Uncle Luke's farm.
And you'll be willing, will you, to get up early and milk and feed the stock? And you'll be able to hoe and hay all day?
Sure I will. What do you mean, Pa?
Well, George, when I was here in
It's
the
this guy.
office today,
I love this dude.
I heard a funny sound. What do you think it was?
What film was it that we loved him in so
It
much?
was your mother
Sleep
chopping
well,
wood.
Remy. Good night, everybody, she says. Enjoy the rest of the film. I think we will,
Well,
Remy.
There you see your
We'll spoil
mother,
it for you later.
getting up early, cooking meals all day, washing and ironing, and yet she has to go out in the backyard and chop wood. I suppose she got tired asking you. I suppose she just gave up and decided it was easier to do it herself. Yet, you eat her meals. You put on the clothes she keeps nice for you. Then you run out and play baseball. Like she was a hired girl we kept around the house but didn't like very much.
Jesus.
I knew all I had to do was call it to your attention. Here's a handkerchief, son.
Trying to remember where I saw this guy last time.
I wonder what's happened to your mother.
Yeah, you're right, Jeremy. Yeah, she's mad interested in him, and he's interested in her too.
Breakfast never was as late as this.
But they're kids, dude. They're kids. It's very sweet. I like it.
Only 8:30, Pa. I don't know what she wants.
Oh, so that motherfucker
She
from...
hasn't got any more voice.
He's the fucking sheriff. From that goddamn movie, The Outlaw.
Around the street this hour of the night.
Sorry, guys.
It's just about time you retired. Don't you think, George?
Yes, Pa.
Wow. It was easy, right? Brian is him. He's the fucking sheriff from The Outlaw. That's where I know him from.
Nice place. Real nice choir practice, wasn't it? Little Webb, look at that moon. Potato weather, sure. Well, naturally, I didn't want to say a word about it in front of those others. But now we're alone.
The gossip group.
Really, it's the worst scandal that ever was in this town. What? Why, Simon Stimpson. No, Luella. But, Julia, to have the organist of a church drink, and drunk year after year. Luella. Julia, you know he was drunk tonight. Now, Luella, we all know about Mr. Stimpson, and we all know about the troubles he's been through. And Dr. Ferguson knows, too. And if Dr. Ferguson is willing to keep him on in his job there, the only thing the rest of us can do is just not to notice it. Not to notice it? But it's getting worse.
No, it ain't, Luella. It's getting better. I've been in that choir twice as long as you have, and it doesn't happen anywhere near so often.
Oh, my.
The gossip group. It is, right, Orion? Yeah, she's from Wizard of Oz.
Well,
that came out the
night, Luella. Good
year
night,
before this.
Julia. Night, Myrtle.
This is 1940, guys. Wizard of Oz was 1939.
Oh, it's bright as day. I can see Mr. Soames scowling at the window now. You think we've been to a dance the way the menfolk carry on. Good night, Julia. Good night, Luella. See you on Sunday. See you then.
And she's thinking to herself, she's like, ah, these bitches. Why do I hang out with these girls?
Well, we had a real good time.
You're late enough.
Frank ain't any later than usual.
You stopping the gossip with a lot of hens.
Now, don't be grouchy. Smell my heliotrope.
It's a beautiful evening, dude.
What'd you do all the time I was away?
Oh, I read as usual. Well,
Ignore a problem, maybe it'll go
what
away.
did the
Well,
girls gossip about tonight?
so what? He had a little too much to drink.
Simon Simpson? Far gone, was he?
Oh, worst I've ever seen. Frank, how's all that going to end? Dr. Ferguson can't forgive him forever.
I guess I know Simon as well as anybody in this town. Some people just ain't made for small-town life. I don't know how that'll end. But there's nothing we can do but leave it alone.
I don't know.
Oh, no, not yet.
Jimmy's saying, fucking approach this man.
Frank, I'm worried about you.
What are you worried about?
Well, I think it's my duty to plan for you to get a real rest and change. And if I get that legacy, I'm going to insist upon it.
No, Julie, no. There's no sense in going all over that again. Come on. It's getting late. First thing you know, you'll catch a cold. I gave George a piece of my mind tonight. I reckon you'll get your wood chop. For a little while, anyway.
You know, Frank, Mrs. Fairchild always locks the front door every night. All the people up in that part of town do.
They're all getting too cityfied. That's the trouble with them.
Locking the front door. That's
Haven't
craziness.
got a thing fit to burgle, and everybody knows it.
Hope you guys don't get burgled.
Good evening, Constable.
So Kyle's had a drink
Evening,
since Lester.
Mr.
Nice,
Webb.
Kyle. I mean, it's
By the
been
moon.
more than a week.
Yeah.
What cannot be cured must be endured.
All
Revenge.
quiet tonight? Simon Stimson is rolling around a little. I just saw his wife moving out to hunt for him. So I looked the other way. There he is now.
Just got there a little bit of liquor. What's up, Eddie? Invite him to hang out, dude. That's what he needs.
Good evening, Simon.
He needs a friend, man. Hey, Simon, want to play some cards?
Good evening. Most of the town settled down for the evening. Guess we'd better do the same. Can I walk along with you?
Oh, mind your business, old man. The fuck?
Good night.
This movie is getting godlike.
I don't know how that's going to end. Oh, Bill, if you see my boy smoking cigarettes, give a word to him, will you? He thinks a lot of you, Bill. I don't think he smokes those cigarettes, Mr. Webb. Leastways, not more than 2 or 3 a year. Well, I hope not. Good night, Bill. Good night, Mr. Webb.
Okay. What's gonna happen to that dude? Yo, brother. That good vibe? Scotland? Eddie? Ireland? Connor? UK? England?
Who's that up there? Is that you, Myrtle?
Oh, no, it's me, Papa.
Why aren't you in bed?
Need a
I
whales.
don't know. I just can't sleep yet, Papa.
She's thinking about boys,
The
dude.
moonlight's so
She's that
wonderful.
age.
The smell of Mrs. Gibbs' heliotrope. Can you smell it?
Yes. Having any troubles on your mind, have you, Emily?
Troubles, Papa? No.
Well, don't let your mother catch you. Good night, Emily.
Night, Papa.
This movie is fucking sick. I like the way women talk in these older movies. It's like asthma-ish, huh?
I never told you about that letter Jane Crowfoot got from her minister when she was sick. He wrote Jane a letter, and on the envelope, the address was like this. It said, Jane Crowfoot, the Crowfoot Farm, Grover's Corners, Sutton County, New Hampshire, the United States of America.
What's funny about that?
But listen, it's not finished. The United States of America, continent of North America, Western Hemisphere, the Earth, the solar system, the universe, the mind of God. That's what it said on the envelope.
What do you know?
Yep, and the postman brought it just the same.
Welcome back, Mike. Like no see, dude. Have you been well? The movie's kind of like sentimental somehow. It's kind of nostalgic. You know, it's fair to say it's not my era. Same with the guys, but more with the ladies. And very just pleasant. Yeah, it could be the way it's recorded, even.
Well, 3 years have gone by. The sun's come up over 1,000 times. Summers and winters have cracked the mountains a little bit more, and the rain's brought down some of the dirt. Some babies who weren't even born before have begun talking regular sentences already. And some folks who thought they were right young and spry have discovered they can't bound up a flight of stairs the way they used to without their hearts fluttering a little. All that can happen in 1,000 days. Nature's been pushing and contriving in other ways, too. A number of young people fell in love and got married. Most everybody in the world gets married. In this town, there aren't hardly any exceptions. Most everybody climbs into the grave married. What you've seen was called the daily life. Let's call what you're going to see love and marriage. So it's 3 years later. It's 1904. It's July 7th, just after the high school commencement. That's the time most young people jump up and get married. As soon as they've passed their final examinations in solid geometry and Cicero's orations, that's the time most young people think themselves fitted to get married. It's early morning again. Only this time it's been raining. It's been thundering and pouring.
So we just watched one whole day and like...
May start in again any moment.
Yeah, from start to finish.
Yeah?
Now we're jumping ahead 3 years. This is such a cool idea for a movie. Good night, J-Bomb. Sleep well, dude.
There's delivering the papers like his brother before him. And there's Mrs. Gibbs and Mrs. Webb coming downstairs to get breakfast just as though this were an ordinary day. I don't have to point out to the women in the audience that both these ladies they see before them, both these ladies have been cooking 3 meals a day, one of them for 21 years and the other for 25, and never took a summer vacation. They raised 2 children apiece, washed, cleaned the house, and never had a nervous breakdown. And here comes Howie Newsom and Bessie delivering the milk.
Oh, Howie's still at it, dude.
Morning, Howie.
Howie's 3 years older.
Anything in the paper I ought to know?
Nothing much. Except for losing about the best baseball pitcher Grover's Corners ever had.
George Gibbs,
Rest in peace.
I don't see how I can give up a thing like that.
That was
Just
George.
get
He was a
married.
pitcher.
Would you have, Howie?
Can't say. Never had no talent that way. But in '95, we had a player, Si, that even George Gibbs couldn't have touched. Name of Hank Todd. But he went down to Maine and become a parson. Wonderful ball player. Fine.
Howie?
Interesting. Cat's 3 years older. Still waiting for the milkman.
Morning, Miss Gibbs.
Morning, Howie.
It's too bad it's so wet, but I guess it's cleared up for good.
Certainly hope it has. Going to have a house full of relations today, Howie. Looks like I'll need 3 of milk and 2 of cream.
3 of milk and 2 of cream. My wife says to tell you we hope they'll be happy. No, they will.
Thanks a lot, Howie. Tell your wife I hope she gets the wedding.
Maybe she can. She'll get there if she can.
How do you pay the milkman?
Morning, Miss Webb.
Is it a social service? You pay for it with taxes? She's like, I want 3 milks, 2 creams. Like, all right, there you go. Anyway, bye.
Miss Newsom told me special to tell you as how we hope to be very happy. No, they will.
Thank you, Mr. Newsom, and thank Mrs. Newsom. We're counting on seeing you at the church.
Yes, sir. We hope to get there all right. Couldn't miss that.
Love church. Ain't got Game Boy yet.
Well, Ma, days come. We're losing one of your chicks.
Frank Gibbs, don't you say another word. I feel like crying any minute. Sit down, drink your coffee.
Groom's upstairs shaving himself. Only there ain't very much to shave. He's whistling and singing like he was glad to leave us. Every now and then saying, I do, to the mirror. But it don't sound convincing to me.
Orion says, they say the milkman always gets lucky with the lady of the house, huh?
I've always arranged his clothes
They
for
say,
him. Seen to it
I
that
am the
his feet
milkman.
were dry and he
My
had
milk
warm
is delicious.
things on. They're too young for him. Emily will never think of those things. He'll catch his death call within a week.
I remember my wedding morning, Julie.
Don't stop that, Frank Gibbs.
I was the scaredest young fellow in the state of New Hampshire. Thought I'd made a mistake for sure. And when I saw you coming down the aisle, I thought you were the prettiest girl I'd ever seen. The whole trouble was I'd never seen you before. There I was, right in the Congregational Church, being married to a total stranger.
Well, how do you think I felt? I tell you, Frank, weddings are perfectly horrible things. Farces, that's what they are. Made something for you.
Why, Julie Hersey.
French toast.
It ain't hard to make. Besides, I had to do something.
Aww.
How'd you sleep last night?
Heard a lot of hours struck off.
I get a shock every time I think of George setting out as a family man. That great, gangling thing. I tell you, Julie, there's nothing in the world so terrifying as a son. The relation between a father and a son is the dangest, awkwardest...
Well, mother and daughter's no picnic, I can tell you.
I do.
There he is, as described. Milkman has enough cream to go around the whole town, said Brian. Oh, my. He does.
He'll have a lot of trouble, I suppose, but that's none of our business.
Everybody's got a right to their own trouble.
Well said.
You know one thing that scared me when I married you?
Go along with you.
I was afraid we didn't have material for conversation more than it'd last a few weeks. I was afraid we'd run out and have to eat our meals in silence. Hey. Well, you and I have been conversing for 20 years without any noticeable barren spells.
Good weather, bad weather, tain't very choice, but I always find something to say. Did you hear Rebecca stirring around up there?
Aww.
No. This is the only day in the year when she isn't managing everyone's affairs up there. She's hiding in her room, and I have an idea she's crying.
Land sakes, this has got to stop. Rebecca? Rebecca, come and eat your breakfast.
All the that's a good advice. This movie's so sweet, dude.
Good morning, everybody. Only 4 more hours to live.
George, guess where you're going?
The fuck?
I'm just stepping across the grass to see my girl.
Now, George, put your rubbers on. It's been raining torrents. You don't step out of this house unless you're prepared for it.
Oh, Ma, it's just a step.
You'll catch your death of cold and call for room service.
Ah,
George, do as your mother tells you.
At least for one more day, George. Come on, you're moving out, man. You're your little boy for one more day, dude.
You can kill yourself in all weathers, but when you're in my house, you'll live wisely, thank you. Maybe Mrs. Webb ain't used to call us at 7 o'clock in the morning. Here, have a cup of coffee first.
be back in a minute.
This dude is getting married and now he thinks he's hot shit.
Mother Webb.
Goodness, you frighten me. George, I hate to say it, but you understand I can't ask you in.
Why not?
You know as well as I do a groom can't see his bride on his wedding day. Not till he sees her in church first.
Oh, that's just a superstition. Good morning, Mr. Webb.
Morning, George.
You don't believe in that superstition, do you?
There's a lot of common sense in superstitions, George.
Millions have followed it, and don't you be the first to fly in the face of custom.
Man.
How's Emily?
She hasn't waked up
Fucking
yet.
customs, dude.
Sound out of it.
Emily's asleep.
Well, no wonder we were up till all hours, sewing and packing. Tell you what I'll do, George. You sit down here with Mr. Webb for a minute, drink that cup of coffee. And I'll run up and see that she doesn't come down.
Couldn't break out the old one. Milkman shows up to a house where the wife says, fill the tub up with milk. I heard it's good for the skin. You want it past your eyes, says the milkman. No, just up to my tits, says the woman. I can splash it up to my eyes. Wow. That's great. Classic. Truly a classic. Look at this man's dainty little teacup.
Well, George, how are you?
Oh, I'm fine. Mr. Webb, what common sense could there be in a superstition like that?
Well, George, on the wedding morning, a girl's head is full of, clothes and one thing and another. Don't you think that's probably it?
Well, yes. Guess I never thought of that before.
Come on,
Girls
George.
have to be mite nervous on her wedding day.
Gee, I wish a person could get married without all that marching up and down.
Every man that's ever lived has felt that way, George. And it hasn't been any use. It's the women folks who built up weddings, my boy. Man looks mighty small at a wedding, George. All those good women standing shoulder to shoulder, making sure that the knot's tied in a mighty public way.
Well, you believe in it, don't you, Mr. Webb?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Now, don't misunderstand me, George. Marriage is a wonderful thing. A wonderful thing. Don't you forget that, George.
No, sir. Mr. Webb, How old were you when you got married?
Well, you see, I had been to college, and I'd taken a little time to get settled. But Mrs. Webb wasn't much older than what Emily is. Oh, age hasn't much to do with it, my boy. That is, compared with
That's robbing the cradle, bro.
other things.
What were you going to say, Mr. Webb?
Talk about the size of your dick, son.
Was I going to say something? George? I was remembering the other night the advice my father gave to me when I got married.
Other things.
Yes, he said. Charles, he said, start right off by showing her who's boss.
Oh, my God.
Best thing to do is to give an order about something, even if it don't make sense,
Yeah, brilliant.
just so she'll learn to obey, he said. Then he said, if anything about her irritates you, conversation or anything, get right up and leave the house. That'll make it clear to her.
Great advice.
And oh, yes, he said, never tell your wife how much money you have. Never.
3 winners in a
Well,
row.
I couldn't exactly do
So
that.
I took the opposite of his advice, and I've been happy ever since.
There you go. See.
So let that be a lesson to you, my boy. Never ask advice of anybody on personal matters.
George, Emily's got to come down and eat her breakfast. She sends you love, but she don't want to lay eyes on you. Goodbye.
Well, golly gee. I sure am a big awkward dope.
Myrtle, I guess
Exactly,
you didn't
Brian.
know about that older superstition.
What do you mean, Charles?
Since the caveman, no bridegroom should see his father-in-law on the day of the wedding or near it. Remember that.
Yeah, but they had a sweet relationship. That was fun. He had a good visit
before
with
we
his
get on with the
fucking
wedding, I
father.
think we should see how it all began. This plan to spend a lifetime together. I'm awfully interested in how such big things begin. You know, you're 21 or 22, and then you're 70. You've been a lawyer for 50 years, and the white-haired lady beside you has eaten 50,000 meals with you. How do such things begin? Now, George and Emily are going to show you the conversation they had when they first knew, as the saying goes, they were meant for one another. Now, it all happened last year on the way home from school. George had just been elected president of the senior class, and Emily had just been elected secretary and treasurer. Now, you all know how important that is.
Emily, can I carry your books home for you?
So we're flashing back.
Thank you. It isn't far.
Flash back.
Bob, if I'm late, start practice and give Herb some long high ones.
All right.
Awfully glad you were elected too, Emily.
Thank you.
Emily, why are you mad at me?
Well, I'm not mad at you.
You've been treating me so funny lately.
Well, since you asked me, I might as well say it right out, George. Goodbye, Miss Corcoran.
Emily?
Hi, Miss Cochran.
George?
Communication is key, guys.
What is it?
I don't like the whole change that's come over you this last year. I'm sorry if that hurt your feelings, but I just got to tell the truth and shame the devil.
A change? What do you mean?
Well, up to a year ago, I used to like you a lot. I used to watch you while you did everything. Because we'd been friends for so long. And then you started spending all your time at baseball, and you never stopped to speak to anybody anymore. Not to really speak. Not even to your own family you didn't. And George, it's a fact. Since you've been captain, you got awful stuck up and conceited, and all the girls say so. Hurts me to hear them say it, but I have to agree with them a little because it's true.
Call him out, dude. Tell him like it is.
Oh,
Shame the devil.
gosh, Emily. I never thought that such a thing was happening to me. I guess it's hard for a fellow not to have some faults creep into his character.
Always expect a man to be perfect, and I think he should be.
Why?
Makes sense to me. Why not?
I don't think it's possible to be perfect, Emily.
Well, my father is. And as far as I can see, your father is. And there's no reason on earth why you shouldn't be, too.
Facts, dude.
I feel that it's just the other way around. That Well, men aren't naturally good, but girls are.
Well, you might as well know right now that I'm not perfect. It isn't as easy for a girl to be perfect as a man because,
Why is that?
well, we girls are more nervous. Oh, now I'm sorry I said that about you. I don't know what made me say it.
Emily,
Now I can see it isn't the truth at all. Suddenly I feel it isn't important anyway.
He's like, this is so fucking awkward. I love it, dude. It's like they're actually in high school.
would you like a ice cream soda or something before you go home?
Let's go, George.
Thank you, I would.
He's like, come on, let's go get some food.
Hello, George.
I really liked you, George. You started spending all your time on that toxic fight, Cade.
Why, Emily Webb, what you been crying about?
Well, she got an awful scare, Mr. Morgan. That hardware store wagon almost ran over her. Everybody says that
They
Tom
are now
Huggins drives
18
like a crazy
mid-vibe.
man.
Yeah, going on
I'll give you a
19.
glass of
Or
water.
just turned 19.
Gracious, you look all shook up.
This is late senior year in high
I tell
school.
you gotta look both ways before you cross
They were
Main Street these
17
days.
2 years ago.
It's getting worse every year. What do you have?
I'll have a strawberry phosphate, Mr. Morgan.
Oh, no, Emily. Have a soda with me.
Well,
2 strawberry ice cream sodas, Mr. Morgan.
2 strawberry ice cream sodas, yes.
He's so nervous, dude.
Yes,
They are
sir,
19,
I'll
30
tell you
years old
something.
as Zion.
There are 275 horses in Grover's Corners this very
The
moment.
year
I'm talking
now
to you.
is
State inspector was in here yesterday.
1903, I think.
Now with all these automobiles coming
The
along,
film came out
it looked to
in
me like the only
1940.
safe place to stay was to home.
It takes place in 1903.
Gracious, I can remember the time when a dog would run up the middle of Main Street all day long without anything coming along to disturb him. There you are. Howdy, Mrs. Ellis. What can I do for you?
Got a prescription.
Yes? Well, let's see. Shouldn't take long to fill that. You just sit down here. Be with you in just a minute.
so expensive.
No, Emily, don't you think about that. We're celebrating our election. Emily, I want to ask you a favor.
What?
If I go away to State Agricultural College next year, will you write me a letter once in a while?
I certainly will. I certainly will, George. It certainly seems like being away 3 years, you'd get out of touch with things. Maybe letters from Grover's Corners won't seem so interesting after a while.
Damn.
Grover's Corners isn't a very important place when you think of all New Hampshire, but I think it's a very nice town.
Oh, well, the day wouldn't come when I wouldn't want to know everything about our town. Well, I know
Roll
that's
credits.
true, Emily.
Well, try to make my letters interesting.
Maybe Skype me every now and then.
You know,
Hit me up
Emily,
on Zoom.
whenever I meet a farmer, I ask him if he thinks it's important to go to agricultural school to be a good farmer.
Why, George.
Yeah, and some of them even say it's a waste of time. And well, you can get all that stuff anyway in the pamphlets the government puts out. Well, Uncle Luke's getting pretty old, and he's about ready for me to start taking over his farm. Tomorrow, if I could.
Oh, but George, maybe it's important for you to go and learn all that about cattle judging
And farming and stuff.
soils and those things. Of course, I don't know.
Emily,
Taken over by force,
I'm gonna
Ion?
make up
Don't
my
worry.
mind right now. I won't go.
His
I'll
uncle's
tell
already
Pa
committed to a
about it
peaceful
tonight.
transfer of power.
But, George, you don't have to decide right now. It's a whole year away.
Emily, I'm glad you spoke to me about that fault in my character. Everything you said was right, but there was one thing wrong with it. And that's when you said I wasn't noticing people. You, for instance. You say you were watching me when I did everything. I was doing the same thing about you all the time.
Why?
Aw, they're both stalkers.
I always thought about you as one of the chief people I thought about. I always made sure where you're sitting on the bleachers, who you were with. Well, for 3 days now, I've been trying to walk home with you, but something always got in the way. And yesterday, I was standing out by the wall waiting for you. And you walked home with Miss Cochran.
It's so fucking nervous.
George, life's awful funny. How could I have known that? I thought...
Emily, I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to agricultural school. I think that once you've found a person that you're very fond of, a person who's fond of you, too, likes you well enough to be interested in your character, I think that's just as important as college is, and even more so. That's what I think.
I think it's awfully important, too.
Pixel Bangs, he's 19. Welcome aboard, Pixel Bangs.
Emily?
Yes, George?
Emily, if I do improve and make a big change, would you be... I mean... Would you be...
I am now. I always have been.
Aww.
I guess this is a pretty important talk we've been having.
Aww.
Yes.
Makes me want to go throw up, yeah. Just I'll vomit, dude. It's like Stan from South Park, bro. Aw, dude.
Dave.
This movie got all the dog.
If you'll wait a minute, I'll walk you home.
Oh, this guy ain't got no money. Ooh.
Mr. Morgan.
Yes?
I'll have to go home and get the money to pay you for this.
Why, George Gibbs, do you mean to tell me that
But,
you...
Mr. Morgan, I had a reason. Look, I'll leave my gold watch with you until I get back.
No, you keep your watch, George. I'll trust you.
But I'll be back in 5 minutes.
I'll trust you for 10 years, George. Not a day more, though.
Aw. Then Kaiser's back when cocaine in it, indeed, dude.
Feeling all
Most
right,
damn nervous scene
Margaret?
I've ever seen in my life is I am.
Yes,
It was very
thank
sweet.
you, Mr. Morgan. It's nothing.
I'm ready.
I remember feeling that way. Don't feel that way very often anymore these days, though. Only there's a woman nearby. In my, peripheral vision.
Well, now to get on with the wedding.
Makes me flashback, we're flashing forward again.
There's a lot of things
There's
to
a
be
year
said
later.
about a wedding. We can't get them all into one wedding, naturally. Especially not a wedding in Grover's Corners, where weddings are mighty short and plain. People think a lot of thoughts during a wedding.
A lot of thoughts?
The bride, the groom, the relatives and the guests, and even the minister. Yes, a lot of thoughts go on during a wedding.
Oh, sorry, guys.
I've married 200 couples in my day. M marries N. Millions of them. The cottage, the go-kart, the Sunday afternoon drives in the country, the first rheumatism, the grandchildren, the second rheumatism, the deathbed, the reading of the will. Once in 1,000 times, it's interesting.
Wow.
I don't know
Reading
why
thoughts now?
Be crying. I suppose there's nothing to cry about. This morning at breakfast, it just come over me. There was Emily eating her breakfast as she's done for 17 years. She's going out of my house. I suppose that's it. I never felt so alone in my whole life. I don't want to get married. Why can't I stay for a while as I am? Papa, darling, don't you remember what you used to say all the time, that I was your girl? I don't want to get married.
I'm getting old. I don't want to get old. Taking on all these responsibilities. Why is everybody pushing me so? All I want to do is be a fella. I'm going to get married.
Tax credit, revenge. All it takes is being close to women, says Pixel Bangs.
Cheer up, Ma. I'm getting married. Come on, Ma. Now, Ma, you see Thursday nights. Emily and I'll be over for supper every Thursday night. You'll see.
Where's he gonna go live?
Come on, Ma. We've got to get ready.
They're getting
for this.
married. They're
Got the
both
ring?
moving out.
Oh, yes, sir.
That's
Come
tradition.
on.
Fuck this. Yeah, nobody's happy that marriage day seems good vibe. That's all the thoughts we've got so far. Everybody's fucking salty about getting married. Mom's like, I don't want my little girl to get married. Girl's like, I don't want to get married. Guy's like, I don't want to get married. Fucking Mister's like, I don't want to marry these guys. But here we are. We're getting married. They're gonna live in the barn until Uncle Luke gives the farm up, I guess, Brian. That's kind of the impression I'm getting. Little kid stuff's like, ugh. Wish I could just play my Game Boy in here, but it's only 1903. Shut the fuck up.
Doesn't she make a lovely bride?
This movie's fucking good. Aw, she was so sad that she sees George and she cheers up.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered together here in the sight of God and in the face of this company to join together this man and this woman in holy matrimony.
Don't know when I've seen such a lovely wedding. I always cry. I don't know why it is, but I always cry. I just like to see young people happy. They're such a lovely couple. I've never been to such a nice wedding. I'm sure.
To love and to cherish till death you do part.
That she is good vibe, yeah.
According to God's holy
So
ordinance.
it's kind of familiar. Do we see her in another movie? We must have, right?
I do.
Was she in Scarlet Street? I mean, excuse me, at the Red House?
Do you, Emily, take George to your wedded husband to have and to hold from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish till death you do part, according to God's holy ordinance, and thereto plight him your troth?
I do.
What token dost thou give of thy sincerity? With this ring,
With this ring,
I thee wed.
I thee wed.
For as much as George and Emily have consented together in holy wedlock, and have witnessed the same before God and this company, and have declared the same by giving and receiving a ring, I pronounce that they are husband and wife.
Nice.
Amen.
Ooh, 2 out for Twitch, guys. 2 out for Twitch.
Forever.
Don't report me.
Forever and ever.
Hey, guys. Wish you all the luck. Emily and George. Good luck on your move to wherever you're moving to.
Hey, your first of the month, like usual.
Hey, you, Howie.
Maybe a woman in the window. I don't think you did see that one on this channel.
Man his age shouldn't be driving one of those things. Not when he's got a lot of young fellas to do it for him.
Well, Howie likes to deliver the milk himself. Says he gets the feel of the town that way. You know, in all these years, he never kept a book. Carries all the accounts in his head.
I hear he's been doing so well, he's begun locking his front door at nights. Afraid of burglars.
Ain't no burglars in this town yet.
No, but Howie's heard about them.
So they mentioned at the start of the film that the car wouldn't be invented for some number of years. So the car must be brand new this year or something like that. It only kisses Brian. It's not like they posted Gutex tweets. No truth copy mode. Damn, rest in peace. I read her films and nope, she was in Ben-Hur and 10 Commandments. Oh, okay.
It's the summer of 1913. Gradual changes in Grover's Corners.
It's a hell of a jump.
Horses are getting rarer.
8 years later.
Farmers are coming into town now in Fords. Still, you'd be surprised, though, on the whole. Things don't change much around here. This is an important part of Drover's Corners up here in this hilltop. Lots of sky, lots of clouds, often lots of sun and moon and stars. Certainly a beautiful spot up here. I often wonder why people want to be buried in Woodlawn or Brooklyn when they might pass the same time up here in New Hampshire.
Maybe good vibe, maybe.
Over here are the old stones. 1660, 1670. Strong-minded people who come a long ways to be independent. Over here are some Civil War veterans. Iron flags on their graves. New Hampshire boys.
USA,
The Union ought to be kept together. Although they'd never seen more than 50
That's the Brown. Who
miles
said
of it
spoken bad
themselves.
for you, bro?
All
11 to
they
90.
knew was a name, friends. The United States of America. The United States of America.
USA,
They
USA.
went and died about it.
Yeah, it's preserving their health, Revenge. Smoking's good for you.
This is the new part of the cemetery.
Good for your nerves.
There's Mrs. Soames, who enjoyed the wedding so much. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
And there's our friend, Mrs. Gibbs.
Rest in peace.
And Doc Gibbs lost his wife 3 years ago, just about this time.
Rest in peace again.
And Editor Webb's boy, Wallace, whose appendix burst on a Boy Scout trip to Crawford Notch.
Damn, rest in peace.
There's Mr. Stimson, the organist at the Congregational Church. He drank a lot, they used to say. Hung himself in the attic. They tried to hush it up, but of course it got around.
Damn.
He wrote his own epitaph. Ain't a verse exactly, it's just a lot of notes. I wouldn't know what it was. It was all read up in the Boston papers at the time, though. A lot of sorrows kind of quieted down up here.
Keep saying Ion. Everybody's dying. Dude.
All those important things, mother and daughter, husband and wife, enemy and enemy, money and miser. All those terribly important things, the earth part kind of burns away, burns out. And what's left? What's left when memory is gone? And your identity, Mrs. Smith? Something eternal. We all know down in our bones that something is eternal, and that something has to do with human beings. All the greatest people that have lived for the past 5,000 years have been telling us that, and yet you'd be surprised how we lose sight of that fact. There's something eternal about every human being. I guess I'm thinking these thoughts today on account of our friend Emily. Another baby's expected down at that happy home we saw started. It's Emily's second. There's a little boy about 6 years old. But this time, Emily's pretty sick.
Oh, no.
Doc Gibbs is going around these days with a mighty worried face.
No, Emily. Everybody's dying. No, Emily. Appendix burst on a Boy Scout trip. How traumatized are the other kids? I wonder. It happens, dude. It's back in the day. Kids get over it. Golly gee, Davy kicked the bucket. Passed the marshmallows. Oh, Davy was one of the good ones. Damn. What's left? Nothing. You're dead, noob. Rip. The end, motherfucker. Move on. Get over it. Nothing lasts forever. Easy come, easy go. Whew. Very drowsy film to end the night on. It's kind of nice. Can I have his Boy Scout medals? I was his best friend. They should go to me. Emily held up okay? Emily all right? They're like dog tags, I says I am. But for little kids, like little kid dog tags.
My daughter-in-law.
It's a cool film because I'm enjoying it.
What ails her? Trouble bringing a baby into the world. Why, I remember Emily's
She's having fever
wedding.
dreams.
Wasn't it a lovely wedding? I remember I called on George and Emily at their farm just before I died. Perfectly beautiful farm.
She's hearing ghosts. my god. Rest in peace. So she died at the age of, what, 27-ish? That's what I'm saying, Brian. For my dog tax is 3 pension. I made Life Scout before I quit, huh? I'm not sure what that means, 3 pension. Sounds sick. 27 Club first member says goodbye.
Dear friends, as we gather here in the last tribute of memory to our loved one,
Hello, Mother Gibbs.
let us remember the words of
Hello,
the Master.
Emily. Hello,
I
Emily.
am the resurrection and the life.
Oh, Mrs. Soames.
He that believeth in me.
Hello, sis.
Hello, Wally.
I'm gonna cry, dude.
Eternal in the heavens.
She met her baby brother in the afterlife, dude.
Mother Gibbs, they're going.
The grave gossip. Hashtag grave gossip.
Father Gibbs is bringing some of my flowers to you, Mother Gibbs.
The sole survivor, dude. Lost his son.
Mother Gibbs, I never realized how troubled and sad he looks.
Lost his daughter.
I loved him so.
Lost his wife.
Mother Gibbs. Mother Gibbs.
Jesus. Physically a project away from Eagle Scout. Didn't feel I had time for a project on top of being in sports, huh? I don't know what Eagle Scout is. I've never been in Boy Scouts, so none of that means anything to me.
Tired, Mother Gibbs. Mother Gibbs, when does this feeling go away? Seems strange here. How long does it...
dear. Just wait. Be patient.
How do you do, Mr. Stimson?
How do you do, Emily?
Mother Gibbs, George and I have made that farm into just the best place you ever saw. We thought of you
Thank
all
you,
the time.
Romance Vibe, for the $2.
wanted to
Thanks
show
for the
you the
cool
new
movie night.
farm.
Now I feel like falling in love.
And a great
Thank you, good
long
vibe.
cement drinking fountain for the stock. We bought that out of the money you left us.
I did.
Mother Gibbs, don't you remember? The legacy you left us. Why, it was more than $350.
Oh, yes. Yes, Emily.
It won't be the same to George without me.
This shit got real art house all of a sudden.
But it's a lovely farm. My boy's spending the day at Mrs. Carter's. Oh, Mr. Carter, my little boy is spending the day at your house.
Yes?
Yes, he loves it there. Mother Gibbs, one can go back in memory and live each of those days over again. Why, just then for a moment I was thinking about the farm. For a moment I was there. And my baby was in my arms as plain as day.
Yes, but when you've been here longer, you'll realize that our life here is to forget all that. To think of what is ahead and be ready for what is ahead.
But Mother Gibbs, how can I ever forget that life? It's all I know. It's all I had. One can go back and live all those days over again. I feel it. I know it.
You not only live it, you watch yourself living it.
I'll choose a happy day.
Oh, Emily, it isn't wise. Really, it isn't.
I'll choose the day I first knew I loved George. Why Why should that be painful?
Because it's the happiest days that are the hardest to relive and to forget.
I must.
Then choose an unimportant day. Choose the least important day in your life. It will be important enough.
It's creepy as fuck.
Choose. I'll choose. Yes, Emily. Think hard. Remember.
This is,
But there's Main Street. That's Mr. Morgan's drugstore before he changed. And there's the livery stable. That's the town I knew as a little girl. And look. There's the old white fence that used to be around our house. Oh, I'd forgotten that. I love it so. Coming downstairs to make breakfast.
special effects. Special effects. I'm enjoying it, Revenge. This is really bizarre.
Look, there's Howie Newsom.
A little bit creepy.
But there's Joe Crowell.
I'd say it fits the theme of the film quite well, which is like nostalgia.
Children, Emily, Wally, time to get up.
Yeah, it's kind of gloomy, Ian. Yeah.
Morning, Miss Webb.
Oh, yeah, it was very sweet. It's fitting that it become a little bit gloomy.
Here it's cold.
Yes, and below by my barn, Miss Webb.
Keep yourself wrapped up, Mr. Newsom.
Yes.
She's like an audience insert now, you know what I mean?
Tell Emily many happy returns of the day.
No, I know. It's my 16th birthday. Mama, I can't find my blue hair ribbon anywhere.
Just open your eyes, dear, that's all. I laid it out special for you on the dresser there. If it were a snake, it'd bite you.
How young Mama looks. I didn't know Mama was ever that young.
Morning, Howie. Morning, Miss Webb.
There's Pop.
You're up early. Yeah, I've been back from old college, New York State, to make a speech. Any news here? Yeah, Constable was called up this morning to rescue a foolish fellow. Darn near froze to death he was. We'll put that in the paper.
I can't even commentate. I'm so fascinated with
Morning,
this.
Mother.
Well, there you are, back at last. How'd it go, Charles?
Oh, fine, I guess. I told him a few things. Everything all right here?
Yes, can't think of anything that happened special. Been mighty cold. Howie Newsom says 10 below down to his barn.
Yes, well, it's colder than that at Hamilton College. Students' ears are falling off. They ain't Christian. Paper have any mistakes in it?
Not that I noticed. Well, you can have your coffee when you want it, Charles. Don't forget it's Emily's birthday. Did you remember to get her anything?
Got it right here. Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
Don't interrupt her now, Charles. You can see her at breakfast. She's slow enough as it is.
Special effects.
I can't bear it. Why did they ever have to get old? Mama, I'm here. I'm grown up. Oh, I love you all. Everything. I can't look at everything hard enough.
Hurry up, children. 7 o'clock. I don't want to call you again.
Morning, Mama.
Well, now, dear. A happy birthday to my girl.
I hope I don't have to go back and relive every day after I die. Otherwise, I'd constantly be saying, Brian, you fucking dumbass. You don't have to.
I can't.
She chose to.
Birthday
Against
is
the
no
recommendation
birthday. I
from the other
want you to keep
ghosts.
good and slow. Want you to grow up and be a good, strong girl. That and the blue package is from your Aunt Carrie.
They begged her not to, in fact. She's up to find out why.
Good morning, George.
Brought this over for your birthday, Emily. Any happy returns of the day.
Thank you.
It's only a photograph album.
George, I'd forgotten. Oh, it's beautiful.
Oh, just an album. I'm going out to my Uncle Luke's farm today. I like it out there.
George, we grew up and were married, don't you remember? Uncle Luke gave you the farm.
Well, goodbye.
Goodbye, and thanks.
Yeah, it's like a metaphor for fucking
Do this
Alzheimer's
thing,
now?
Slow. It'll help keep you warm on a cold day.
Mama, just look at me for 1 minute as though you really saw me. Mama, 12 years have gone by. I'm dead. I married George Gibbs, Mama. Wally's dead, too. Mama, his appendix burst on a camping trip to Crawford Notch. We felt just terrible about it, don't you remember?
It's fucking getting terrifying.
For a moment now, we're all together. Mama, let's be happy just for a moment. Let's look at one another.
That in the yellow package is something I found in the attic among your grandmother's things. You're old enough to wear it now, and I thought maybe you'd like it.
Oh, and this is from you. It's lovely. It's just what I wanted. It's beautiful.
I hoped you'd like it. Wally has a present for you, too. He made it an annual training class. Be sure and make a fuss over it.
I'm saying,
Wally's
Apples.
got a surprise for you, too.
This movie's fucking wild, bro.
Don't know what it is myself. There he comes.
Where's my girl? Where's my birthday girl?
I can't, George. It goes so fast. We don't have time to look at one another. Oh, I didn't realize. So all that was going on. And we never noticed. Must I go back to my grave? Wait. One more look.
Special effects
Goodbye. Goodbye, world. Goodbye, Grover's Corner. Mama, Papa. Goodbye to clocks ticking. My butternut tree and Mama's sunflowers. Food and coffee. New iron dresses and hot baths. And sleeping and waking up. Oh, Earth, you're too wonderful for anybody to realize. Do any human beings ever realize life while they live it? Every minute. Oh, I want to live, I want to live, I want to live.
Of course you do, Emily. Of course.
It was a fucking nightmare, dude. Yo, slap the fuck out that baby, dude. Show him what life is like. Yo, welcome to Earth. This movie is art house as fuck. And I'm here for it. I'm just saying, Brian.
Most everybody's asleep in Grover's Corners.
That baby gotta learn what it's like. That baby gotta learn, bro.
Down at the depot, Shorty Hawkins has just watched the Albany train go by. And of course, out in George and Emily's farm. They're still up. Talking over the new baby, I suppose. It's like what one of those Midwestern poets said. You gotta love life to have life. And you gotta have life to love life. $11 in Grover's Corners. Tomorrow's another day. Everybody's resting in Grover's Corners. You get a good rest, too.
Good film to end the night on.
Good night.
Good night. Whoa! That movie was fucking sick. I can't believe I couldn't find a higher quality version of it. Are you telling me that this movie wasn't preserved? What a fucking shame. There's no Blu-ray of this? Talking about too directly to the camera, says to me, Venture. I'm uncomfortable. Yeah, it's pretty creepy. Good Vibes is here. I think, to be honest, most people do realize these things, but to be reminded is good. I don't know Good Vibes. I think the point they made was pretty solid, right? It's easy to take things for granted. Once you lose it all, then it becomes, that's only when you notice it at that point. Or the fourth wall part of the story, says Apple's here. And it's good, sad. That was a pretty cool whole idea. Very imaginative. Again, much more artsy-fartsy. They really took it to the limit in that respect. Like, right from the get-go, you're like, oh, this is kind of a different kind of story. Right? They're telling this story of the town and the characters from this view from the year 1940, looking back nostalgically at 1900. And we have this understanding of the town that's, simultaneously in the present, 1900, but also from the future. We know how the characters died, how they lived, and what life was like back then through the narrator. They kind of broke the fourth wall a few times to kind of establish this tone. We jump from character to character to sort of kind of see how the whole town is sort of kind of going. And, we kind of move around in time, back and forth. We jump ahead a few years, jump back a few years, to kind of get a feeling for these characters. Then the whole nightmare scene at the end was really, really unsettling. Very effective. It became like a fucking little horror, a little bit. Only to kind of deliver some relief there, we find out it's all a fever dream. Which, to be fair, Apple's hinted at. Right? They explain that she's very sick. They show her eyes facing the wall. We see the wall become like a screen for this hallucination. And my first thought was that it was a fever dream. But then I thought maybe it was just a nice transition, of course. But, that was a really, really cool movie indeed. I like the main actress as Good Vibe. Yeah, she was great. All the characters were great. All the actors were great. Without an exception. Very cool. Yeah, it made me feel nostalgic, man. I was never even alive in those times. I had sort of this whole... I think like nostalgia was like a main theme, right? Like looking back at life. This is a rerunning, by the way, if you guys weren't aware of that. The movie just kind of reruns here on my VLC. The movie did just happen to end. Guys, that was Our Town, 1940. To close out our critically acclaimed triple feature, that was the only film that I saw tonight that I would say was really, truly worthy of acclaim. The first film we watched was called A Star Is Born. It was pretty cool. It was all right. It was kind of goofy, kind of corny. And then as it got into the second half, it became a little bit more serious and a little bit more adventurous with its themes. When it concluded, I was quite happy with it overall. But, it was still kind of, it was all right. It was good. The second film we watched was called Love Affair, 1939. That film sucks, dude. It was an ass, period. It had okay visuals. Aside from that, it was pretty bad. This film, again, was Our Town, 1940. I thought it was great. I loved it. I'd recommend it strongly. I can hardly believe this is the least well-preserved film we had tonight. It seems like a fucking tragedy. There's got to be a way. I mean, this was the best I could find online. Maybe I could find a version on DVD or Blu-ray that I could upload myself and make that the new highest quality version. It seems weird. It's such a really cool film. Do you think it'd have more of a following? Guys, hope you had a good night. I had fun. Had some great pizza. Watched some cool films. Had good company, of course, as always. I'm grateful for that. More than I could possibly convey. Another cool evening. 3 more movies in the books, pizza and movie. If you guys enjoyed tonight's show, check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Vencabot Archive. We got new videos daily. We have about, 2 pizza movies going live per month on YouTube. Including horror movies. We've got a lot of more artsy movies. We've got some dramas. All kinds of fun stuff on there. Monster movies. I didn't mind Star Is Born, mainly because I knew the story going in, so I knew it was going to take the darker twist from the onset, says Brian. I can see how that'd make you a little more forgiving toward it.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, I really found a lot of characters in that film quite obnoxious. And the second half, they kind of paid off on that in a kind of interesting way to me, because I think they used the fact that the audience would find them obnoxious to sort of make us feel conflicted about these characters suffering. Like, I had sympathy for them. At the same time, I could see why they had the problems they had, which I think was kind of a unique thing for a film like that. They sort of made me as an audience member part of the story by kind of giving me this perspective on the characters that was like, I don't like them, but I feel sorry for them. And the reason I feel sorry for them is that nobody likes them. So I'm like, well, you know, they kind of brought it on themselves for being so obnoxious. On the other hand, you know, you could see their humanity through their, you know, through the scenes in the second half. You kind of, you know, you wish them the best in that respect, but you can't help but see how they got in the trouble they're in. So it's kind of fun in that respect. It's kind of cool. I liked it because I didn't know it would go darker, and that was neat. It's a good vibe. Yeah, I think that they did what they had to do, right? Because if they hadn't done that, it would have been very boring and very obnoxious. Because the characters weren't really likable. But they used that as like a pretty major plot point in the second half. The fact that they, you know, they kind of had these lives that were, you know, kind of, you know, privileged, smarmy, kind of, you know, insincere. They had these, you know, they had a lot of problems that made them act like assholes. And so you kind of see that as like a failure of Hollywood. I think that was the point, right? How A Star Is Born. It's about Hollywood and its trappings. It was cool. It was nice. I enjoyed it. But again, I think I wouldn't put it in my all-time greats for Pizza in a Movie. We've seen too many great films here, including this, Our Town. It was easy. I'm glad that I decided to watch it. I was really on the fence about this one, guys, because it's, again, it's one of the, you know, least well-preserved films we've watched here on Pizza in a Movie. It is so grainy. It is so kind of not very easy on the eyes. But I'm really glad we watched it after all. Like, we saw what we had to see. It was clear enough, even if it's a little bit rough around the edges. Guys, have a good weekend. I will see you guys on Monday with some more, what are we going to do there? Tomb Raider 2013, followed by some Sonic Adventure. That's going to be fun. Tuesday is Bruise Day Tuesday, of course. Followed by more Tomb Raider, more Sonic Adventure. And next Friday, I don't know yet. We'll decide on what we're going to do when the time comes. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'll see you guys around. I'll be available all night long on Discord, probably, guys, and on Twitter at Vencabot. You guys also know me on Facebook. Good night, Brian. Good night, Good Vibe. Good night, Connor. Good night, Remy. Good night, Katie. Good night, Ion. Good night, all you lurkers out there. I will see you guys on Monday. Until then, peace out. Good night, Apples. Thanks, Good Vibe.
Come on, get out.
It's a lot of work. Pizza Movie's a lot of work, guys. It's probably the most work of any of our Friday events. There's so much that goes into it between streams. From finding the films to, you know, figuring out which films to watch based on their reception, based on their public domain status. Surprising amount of legal work I have to go through. Literally, you know, 50-year-old books on archive.org, the copyright registry.
I have never seen
to see which films didn't get their copyright update, just to be triply sure.
What?
Basically, you can find resources online for like lists of public domain films, but they're not really. I found them over time to not be very reliable. Basically, we've exhausted all the good ones from those lists. But there are so many more films that are public domain than what you find on those lists because they don't have a sort of following. They don't have that fan base.
What's the telling of the day? Gonna rain?
Thanks for coming by, Ion.
Yes, sir. He never makes a mistake? No, sir.
Thanks again to the patrons and subs of the channel, and those that help out through the Streamlabs link below the stream, the little donation button. I stream 5 nights a week here, including special events on Fridays, whether it be Pizza in a Movie or multiplayer events or other cool stuff. It's a hoot and a half. It's exciting. I come by and play Third Strike on Tuesdays. The life I lead here is a sort of an unusual one, and it's one that I'm very, very grateful for. Thank you to the fine folks that make that possible for me and for the rest of us to have this channel to enjoy.
We'll see if this stuff here is despawned. If it has,
I'm going to start naming names if you guys don't mind.
Poo-poo. If it hasn't,
offering a more personal thank you on a one-on-one basis. Thank you to the Black Knights on Patreon, Chulak, John Hernandez, Katie Alpha, Mark, Remy, Syntheria, and Salty Face. Thank you to the Fearless Havels on Patreon, Ash, Lethal Mazera, Audrey Apples, Dick Sucker, Hubie, Jordy, Hargreaves, Max, Michael Hinkle, Munich P, and Wade Local. Thank you to the Shady Winners on Patreon, Brendan Williams, Foul Mill, GK Lie, Good Vibe City, Juna Nam, Keith Best, Coolahan, Kyle Glass, Mum Blues, Rage Against the Arcade Machine, Ricardo Garcia, Souptastic the Shed, Tony Bosher, and Toxic Vamp. Thank you to the young guys on Patreon, Benjamin J. Harkins, Karina D. Scott, Donka, Dapper Dons, Herb Durkin, I'm Joy Cruz, Kaiju Kenfin, and Lisa. Thank you for your support, guys. That's so important. It's so appreciated. Thank you to the Twitch subs as well. People like Zanzu, of course, who's a Black Knight on Twitch. Thank you to the Fearless Havels on Twitch, Big Nasty, Ebuff the Chill, and N Cruz. And thank you to the Shady Winners at the Amazon Prime free sub tier, especially the best sub you can give to the channel, guys, is your Amazon Prime free sub. If you don't want to check out Patreon, guys. Patreon's the best way to help out financially speaking. But the Twitch Amazon Prime sub is probably the second best if you have to subscribe on Twitch. I appreciate that. Also, this is the gift sub tier and the $5 sub tier. Thank you to Architect82, Ash, Lethal, Stuffy Muffin, Audrey Apples, Balls Deep, Big Al, Blue Abs, Bones Bot, Vencabot, Brother, Nero, FTC, Create a Day, Change Me, What the Fuck, Chumpet, Chulot, Clear Your Browser History, Cloud Dude 345, Commander Root, CPU 3S, Crimson Wolf 777, Dan Cainsley, Decoy Mantis, Digimon X, Dicksucker, D Scott, KC2CA, Dumblecuck, EDL 411, Ellie Phil, Fight J Fight First, Opus FPA, Brian X, FPA Eddie, Garbage Uncle Style, Goss, Herb Durkin, HT Ryu, J Bomb 1901, Jiffy Beefy, Josh Taylor NC, Cairo Vatica, Katie Alpha, KG the Legend, Cool Hand, Lambda QL, Long Legs, MK159, Mothman FGC, Mr. Skinner, Mutant Experience, Nan Riot Ford, Nicholas Jones, Nice Templar, Overlord Steve, Praetor 51, QB416, Queegee, Real Yiggin, Remy 0857, Roadkill 3S, Saddest Kitty, Sin Theory, Spife, Stone Cold Ryan Meyer, Task Force Spouse, 3-Bench, Toxic Vamp, Travinx, Tree Tracer, Triple M, Yellow Jelly 11, Yoga Brain 3S, and Zoom Out. Still like the idea of eventually doing a best of pizza movie series where we watch some of the best ones again. Got a headline that with the best westerns featuring the outlaw, Angel, and the bad man. Dude, like the worst of pizza in a movie. But yeah, I consider that, Brian. I think it'd be fun, but you know me, Brian. Like my number one problem with the stream, guys, ironically, considering we stream so much, is that there's just not enough time for everything. Like it's hard. I was thinking the other day about like being lazy and doing that because it was a cool idea to kind of set up a pizza movie that would require less like setup, which is important for me because how busy my life is right now. But on the other hand, it's like we only have one Friday a week to do something cool. I'd rather watch new movies, I guess, if I could possibly finagle it. But I do also think it's important to bring back the old good movies because I think that all the time we're getting new viewers here for Pizza Movie, right? You know, every week we get some new viewers here, and they would have missed some really, really sick films that we've had the pleasure of watching together. We could do like the Street Fighter night. Like previously we did the Street Fighter series over 3 separate Fridays. We could do like one night of all 3 movies. That'd be sick. We could do, the best horror films. We have all kinds of fun stuff we could do. Best dramas. It kind of takes away that risk. There's like, whenever you do pizza movie, there's an inherent risk of like the films might not be that good, which is part of the thrill. We're all watching it for the first time together. But if we watch films we knew were good, that could be like these fucking bangers.
If you super nerds didn't notice, Twitch Prime now comes with a free online sub.
Like this is kind of, we can guarantee. I can guarantee on social media, guys, come out and watch some bangers because they're gonna be sick. Could do 1 or 2 if you're more pressed for time. Is a good vibe, yeah. It's a good idea. The idea of like a pizza movie run back. But like I said, I'm kind of on the fence about it because whenever I think about doing it, I'm like, that would be a relief. It'd be fun. But we could also watch some new ones. And I always rather do that. Turkish Star Wars sounds wonderfully bad. Never heard of it, Ian. I'll have to look into that. Yeah, Spider Baby for 24 straight hours. We could do that, legally speaking. Brian missed a Street Fighter series. Yes, that was super sick. Shout out to goddamn Sonny Chiba.
Well, you're going to take it, aren't you?
What was the film with the 2 Kung Fu brothers? That was called The Guy with the Secret Kung Fu. Good vibe. It's on YouTube already. On the Vencabot YouTube. The Guy with the Secret Kung Fu. That movie was fucking crazy.
I don't know. I mean, did the state of Minnesota really suffer under the reign of Jesse
For years I've been promising myself if we ever had the chance.
How's Doctor feel about it?
Well, I did